Read Across America Day is a nationwide event that inspires a love of reading in children and adults alike. From classic stories to new adventures that are all about the power of books to educate and entertain. Today from the Muhammad Library, joining me is Rebecca Strom, and we have dressed as Where's Waldo in honor of the holiday. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course, thanks for having me back.
So Where's Waldo was one of my favorites as a kid. I feel like that's like the first major, very, very popular book that I remember reading. And I remember the first time I read it, all I did was look for Waldo. And then the next time I read it, I actually started reading what was on the pages.
Yep. I remember checking them out from like my junior high library and like reading them in study hall and doing like all the puzzles and stuff. And I think even in high school, like I still dressed up as Waldo a couple times for like Spirit Week character days.
Right?
Yeah. So like this is, you know, I've done it before.
Right, I was gonna say, and I feel like teachers dress up a lot of times as their favorite character. I thought about putting us as Miss Frizzle from Magic School Bus, but I thought this was...
I've done Arthur before.
Oh, Arthur, yes.
It's a good one.
All right, and then I asked you to bring my favorite book from childhood, some of your favorite books from childhood. So this one is one of your favorites. What do you have here?
It's a really nostalgic book for me. This is The City of Ember by Jan Duprow, and it's kind of like almost dystopian, a little bit post-apocalyptic type story for middle grade readers, so that upper elementary age, and it's about the society living underground. And they've lived underground for hundreds of years, and their generator is starting to fail. And so the town is, the city is starting to panic because, you know, the generator is stalling and the lights are turning off, and these two kids decide that they're going to do something about it, and they're going to find a way out of Ember. And so it's a really exciting adventure story, but also has a lot of themes about like conservation and protecting the planet and all of that. It's just, it was one of my favorite books. There's a movie too with Saoirse Ronan, who's a big actor now, and when she was a child, she was in the film adaptation of it. And so it's just a really nostalgic book for me, and I love to revisit it even now as an adult.
And you don't have to give away anything, but when the kids go looking for a way out, are they looking for a way out for everybody, or are they looking to find what they need to fix the generator and then go back home underground?
It starts as they want to try to fix the generator, and then it becomes, well, we don't think we can fix the generator, so we need to find a way out for everybody.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that sounds like a very fun read. What age sort of would you recommend that for?
I would say like elementary to like lower junior high, so probably like that 3rd to like 6th grade age range is probably like the perfect audience for this.
Nice. Well, this is one of my favorite books. This is The True Confessions of Charlotte Doyle by Avi, and this book was read to us as a class by my 4th grade teacher, and to this day is one of my favorite books because Charlotte Doyle is dressed up as a man, and she joins a ship, and so she is on the ship's crew, and she's having to keep her identity a secret because she's trying to get passage on the ship, obviously, and the only way to do that was to, you know, I believe, it's been so long since I've read it, I need to reread it, but I believe she was from a wealthy family and was running away or something like that. So that's why she had to like conceal her identity and go do that. And I sometimes wonder, because I did a year as a cruise director on a cruise ship, I've always loved the ocean, and I'm kind of like, which came first? This, the inspiration from this book when I was so young, or, you know, is it just that I've always loved the ocean and then I happen to love this book? But I recommend that. I mean, like I said, I read it when I was in 4th grade. That's awesome. I kind of want to reread it again. I'd never
heard of this particular one, but I've seen a lot of books by the same author, Avi, who does a lot of historical fiction, I believe. So that sounds really fascinating.
Yeah, totally different time. Kind of like the dystopian time, right? I feel like when we're kids or even as adults, it's fun to sort of really get out of the world into something that is so completely different.
Absolutely.
And then this one I recognize. You chose this one as well. What do we have here?
Another one of my nostalgic favorites. My mom used to read this to me all the time. She was a librarian too at the Champaign Library, and she would read it to us at home, and then we would also go to story times, and a lot of times this would be featured at story time. So I just have a lot of fond memories of reading this book, and I loved the illustrations. I think they're so iconic.
They are.
And just like, I don't know, it's just a fascinating story about, you know, what it is to be a child and to have these big emotions that you don't really know how to like deal with. And it's just, a classic for me, timeless, really.
Yeah, and I feel like you're right. It's so iconic. And then I remember when I was young, there was this thing that you could do where you would color on pages with fluorescent markers, and then you could run a black light over it. And so obviously not with a library book, but if you have a favorite book like this at home and you have 2 copies, that's something that you can try, because I remember doing it with this book, because then all the wild things glow, and depending on which parts you colored would make different. So then it takes these iconic illustrations and it just to the next level, and kind of gives you a project, because then obviously you're reading and drawing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for bringing all of these books and for dressing up with me for World Read Aloud Day. I hope you are celebrating, or Read Across America Day. I hope you are celebrating at home. Read any book. Any book is fair game, right?
Yeah. And bring your child to the library. You know, there's a lot of ways to celebrate. I think reading at home, reading at the library, just looking at books, you know, showing that your child that you're excited about reading is always a really great way to motivate young readers.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I feel like if you're excited, they'll be excited.
Yeah.
Well, if you want more information about the Mahomet Library, you can visit us on the web at ciliving.tv after the show.